Good afternoon, this is Robert McMahon again from Sydney, Australia, and I'm here today to answer some more questions. And I thought today we'd focus on a very topical subject, and that is fuel, particularly motor vehicle fuel, because we know the world is running out in the next 50 to 100 years according to the American Petroleum Institute. And I have a good friend with me here, Emma, and he's looking at some of the questions we've got here from clients, and he'll ask me a few questions and I'll see what I can do to give you the answers.
Well, Robert, on the news today, we normally hear a lot of things about fossil fuel and the risk of running out of fuel in coming 100 or 50 years. What's your opinion about it?
Well, scientific evidence, petrol companies, petroleum oil companies, the research shows that the world is running out of liquid fuels. In fact, all kinds of fossil fuels, whether it's coal or other forms of fossil fuel supply is also limited. But liquid petroleum, where people think we've reached the peak now of the supply, and we're now on the downward side of availability for the future. And for that reason, we need to make a few changes, because prices will go up with scarcity and availability will decline. And so the changes we can make are to go over to some alternative fuels and look at other forms of transport.
Well, I've heard that few countries with limited resources recently came up with alternative fuels, but I was just wondering if you can explain more about these countries and the solution they came up with.
Yes, some countries in the world are more advanced in using alternative fuels. One country that stands out is Brazil. Now, over in Brazil, about 40% of transporters run on ethanol, and that's a product of sugarcane and other crops. And about 40% of Brazil's transport runs on ethanol fuel, and manufacturers over there have produced motor vehicles specially designed to run on ethanol. That's one example. In the United States, ethanol is also available, and there are blends of ethanol 10, ethanol 20 available at the gasoline pump, where people can use blended fuel to save some money and start on this track. Now, you don't have to be a rich country to have other fuels, and a very good example is on the island of Bougainville in Papua New Guinea. People there are running on coconut oil. They're running their cars and trucks on 100% coconut oil, and coconuts are plentiful, and they press the oil out and they use it in their motor vehicles, and it's cheaper than diesel. They're also using the coconut oil in their generators too. It's another place they use it. So you don't have to be a rich country to go into alternative fuels.
How do you see the situation like in Australia? Well, what we do right here for energy and conservation?
Well, there's a lot of talk in Australia about energy conservation and fuel conservation in particular. We haven't advanced that far in Australia compared to other countries, but one example where alternative fuels are used is in the taxi fleets around the country, major cities and so on. Their LPG is used a lot, and for courier vehicles and other high mileage vehicles, they run on LPG, which is liquefied petroleum gas. Another fuel that is gaining popularity in Australia is natural gas. And that's used for heavy vehicles like buses and trucks, and an increasing number of buses and trucks, particularly city fleets of buses, are more and more being used and powered by natural gas. Another fuel that's in Australia that is used in a limited way is biodiesel. That's a fuel, diesel produced from crop production, but it's only in its infancy in Australia. But other countries in the world use biodiesel a lot more. But Canada in particularly grows crops, and also European countries, biodiesel is used a lot. And in Canada they also use it for their heating their homes, for their boilers. One thing we have to be very careful of with biodiesel is that we don't substitute food crops for fuel crops, and we don't destroy the forests. Like in Malaysia and Indonesia, there's been a lot of concern about the destruction of forests to grow palm oil for biodiesel, and this has to be carefully managed to preserve the whole environment as well as the fuel economy of the world.
Well, out of your voice, it sounds to me that we've got a long way to the optimum point of an acceptable point of having alternative fuels. Meanwhile, what's your suggestions to have our existing resources used efficiently?
I think the first thing anyone can do, the one thing that I've always wondered is why people use these big four-wheel drive petrol guzzling vehicles in the cities when they're not needed. We should go to smaller cars. I think that's one thing. Smaller cars will use less fuel, obviously, and they'll save you money in your fuel costs. Then, of course, if you're looking at a new vehicle, go to the hybrid car. That's a combination of fuel and electric. And the latest version of the hybrid car is a plug-in electric, and they're being designed so people, when they're sleeping at home, they can plug it in and recharge it, and also when they go to work, plug it in at work when they're at work, so it's topped up. And the cost of studies in America comparable, say in America at the moment, the latest figures I've heard is that gasoline costs about 230 pence, or I should say $2.30 a gallon, and the equivalent cost of running a plug-in hybrid car is only 70 cents a gallon. So it's a huge saving, and you can look at that when you're looking at a new vehicle. Look at the total cost over the life of the vehicle, the fuel cost over the life, and the upfront cost. Have a good look at the hybrids. I think they're a car of the future.
Finally, there are a lot of people who's got financial constraint in what they have, the existing car. They have to use it efficiently, and they're not able to change it to hybrid since that it's pretty expensive. What's your suggestion to have to use the car efficiently without?
Well, with your present car, the first thing is to maintain it correctly according to the manufacturer's instructions. Keep your tune-ups, keep your filters clean, and use the correct grade of oil. Now, if you clog filters, for example, could cost you 10% more fuel. Tuning up your engine, figures from the American Energy Authority estimate 4%. You can get a 4% saving if you keep your engine tuned. Underinflated tyres, you can lose a few more percent there if you underinflate your tyres, and 1 or 2 or 3% if you're using a heavier grade of oil than what you really need. So keeping to the manufacturer's recommendation for oil grade is very important.
Thanks, Robert, for your time. Your information was absolutely genuine.
Well, thanks, Emma, for coming along and asking the questions today. Now, you people out there, if you'd like some more information, you can go to the mrsolarenergy.com website. There's lots of information there. You can get the book on solar energy, which includes chapters on fuel and fuel saving ideas. Lots of free information and newsletters available, tips from all around the world. And you can go to Solar and Heat, www.solarandheattips.com. You can log in there and get more free information. So go to it, and that's all we've got today. So we'll look forward to see you again next time. Bye for now.